Have you ever wondered if a zombie apocalypse could actually happen? Zombies, once a thing of folklore, have clawed their way into the heart of pop culture, from spine-chilling movies to adrenaline-pumping video games. These undead creatures have sparked an intriguing question. Could the world as we know it be overrun by a horde of the living dead? Is it mere fiction, or could it be a chilling reality waiting to unfold? Stay tuned as we delve into the science behind this terrifying possibility. Imagine a virus that could potentially turn people into creatures resembling zombies. Sounds like something straight out of a horror movie, doesn't it? Yet, in the vast and often terrifying world of microbiology, there exist several diseases that, while not quite turning us into the Walking Dead, can drastically alter behavior, making this seemingly outlandish concept a tad bit closer to reality. Take, for instance, rabies, a deadly virus transmitted through the bite of an infected animal. Rabies incites aggressive behavior, confusion, and fear of water in its victims, symptoms eerily reminiscent of those classic zombie traits. Then there's the Toxoplasma gondii, a parasite that can alter the behavior of rodents, making them lose their instinctive fear of cats. This in turn increases the chance of the parasite being ingested by a cat, which is its preferred host. Imagine if such a parasite could manipulate human behavior to that extent. But perhaps the most striking example comes from the realm of fungi, with the Ophiocordyceps unilateralis, colloquially known as the zombie ant's fungus. This parasitic fungus takes over the brain of an ant, compelling it to climb to a high point before the fungus sprouts from the ant's head, spreading its spores to infect other ants. A chilling image, isn't it? Now imagine if these diseases were to mutate or combine. What if the aggressiveness of rabies, the behavioral manipulation of toxoplasma, and the mind control of the zombie ant's fungus somehow came together? Could we then be looking at a virus capable of creating something akin to a zombie? That's a frightening thought, to be sure, but it's important to remember that, as of today, these are mere hypotheses, and the jump from reality to a full-blown zombie apocalypse is a massive one. Yet, it does make one wonder, doesn't it? So, armed with the knowledge of these mind-altering pathogens, could our worst nightmares come true? Genetic engineering has made leaps and bounds in recent years. Could it be the key to a real-life zombie apocalypse? Now, this is a thought that's bound to send chills down your spine. But let's delve into it. Genetic engineering, in essence, is the manipulation of an organism's genes. Scientists can now modify DNA, add new genes, or even remove existing ones. It's like playing God, but with a pipette and petri dish. Imagine hypothetically that a scientist wanted to create a zombie virus. They could potentially combine traits from different pathogens to create a supervirus. For instance, the aggression-inducing properties of rabies, coupled with the brain-deteriorating effects of Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, could lead to something terrifyingly similar to a zombie virus. But before we get carried away, let's remember that genetic engineering is not a free-for-all. It's a field heavily regulated and monitored. Scientists can't just willy-nilly create whatever they want in a lab. There are strict ethical guidelines in place, preventing the creation of harmful organisms. One might argue that accidents happen, yes they do. But again, the safety measures in place in these labs are incredibly stringent. The likelihood of such a virus escaping a lab is extremely low. Moreover, even if we were to entertain the idea of an accidental release, the chances of it causing a widespread pandemic are even slimmer. Viruses need to be able to spread easily and quickly to cause a pandemic. And a virus that turns people into zombies? That's likely to be noticeable and consequently quickly contained. Then there's the moral aspect. Would any scientist in their right mind want to create something so devastating? The answer, we hope, is a resounding no. The goal of science is to improve life, not destroy it. While the potential is there, the likelihood is thankfully slim. But what if it were to happen? Imagine waking up one day to find the world as you know it gone, replaced by a nightmare of wandering, mindless creatures. A real-life zombie apocalypse, as portrayed in popular culture, paints a grim picture of civilization's downfall. Based on scientific theories and research, the scenario unfolds something like this. An infectious agent, possibly a virus or a mutated form of bacteria, spreads rapidly among the population. Those infected display zombie-like symptoms, a loss of higher brain functions, aggression, and an insatiable hunger. The speed at which this contagion spreads would be crucial in determining the scale of the apocalypse. Given our globalized world, with people constantly crisscrossing continents, it's conceivable that the infection could reach pandemic levels in a matter of weeks, if not days. Now let's consider society's response. Initial disbelief and panic would likely give way to desperation, as governments and health organizations scramble to contain the outbreak. Quarantines and travel bans would be enforced, but enforcing these measures on a global scale? That's a daunting challenge, to say the least. Infrastructure would start to crumble as more and more of the workforce falls prey to the contagion. Power grids could fail, water supplies might be contaminated, and food would become scarce. Law and order could break down, giving rise to anarchy and chaos. But what about survival? Well, survival isn't just about finding a safe haven or stockpiling food and ammunition. It's about resilience, adaptability, and cooperation. Humans, by nature, are social creatures. We've survived countless catastrophes in the past by banding together and pooling our resources. In the face of a zombie apocalypse, our survival instinct would kick in, and we would find ways to endure and hopefully to overcome. A chilling thought, isn't it? But remember, this is all purely hypothetical. While the idea of a zombie apocalypse is terrifying, it's important to remember the reality of our situation. The concept of the living dead, mindlessly roaming the earth with a ravenous hunger for human flesh, is indeed a spine-chilling one. However, when we put our feet firmly back on the ground and look at this through the lens of our current understanding of biology and disease, the likelihood of such an event occurring is slim to none. To start with, our bodies are incredibly complex. The idea that a virus could reanimate a dead body, taking control of its motor functions while shutting down all cognitive abilities, is far beyond our current understanding of science. Moreover, for a virus to cause such a global pandemic, it would need to be incredibly virulent, spreading rapidly and efficiently among populations. Yet it would also have to be resilient enough to survive outside a host for an extended period. This combination is exceedingly rare. Even if we were to entertain the idea of a virus with such traits, we must acknowledge the power of modern medicine. With advancements in technology, our capabilities to identify, isolate, and combat new diseases have never been better. It's more likely that an outbreak of a new, unknown virus would be contained before it could reach the level of a worldwide apocalypse. Equally important is the need to understand the dangers of fear and misinformation. It's easy to get carried away by sensational headlines and over-the-top movie plots. But let's not forget that critical thinking is our best defense against the spread of misinformation. Questioning the credibility of sources, cross-checking information, and seeking knowledge from reliable channels are essential in our quest for truth. Therefore, it seems that the zombie apocalypse, while a popular trope in science fiction and horror, remains firmly in the realm of fiction. So, while a zombie apocalypse might make for a thrilling movie plot, the chances of it happening in real life are thankfully next to none. We've explored some pretty terrifying possibilities today, but let's bring it back to reality. We dove into the chilling depths of a hypothetical world overrun by zombies driven by an unleashed virus. We pondered the role of genetic engineering and how it could, in theory, create such a horrifying scenario. But let's get real. The likelihood of a real-life zombie apocalypse is incredibly low. Genetic engineering, while powerful, is heavily regulated and monitored. Scientists are not in the business of creating zombie viruses. Their focus is on curing diseases and improving lives, not ending them in gruesome ways. We also examined the apocalypse scenario, the devastating aftermath of a zombie outbreak. It's a gripping narrative for movies and TV shows, but it's far from our everyday reality. Our world is filled with checks and balances, systems in place to prevent such catastrophic outcomes. We must always remember the importance of critical thinking and responsible consumption of information. In an era where information is at our fingertips, it's easy to get carried away by sensational headlines and thrilling narratives. But it's crucial to separate fact from fiction, to question, to research, and to think critically. Remember, the world is full of wonders and mysteries, but not all of them are as terrifying as they seem. Stay curious, stay informed, and keep exploring the endless possibilities of our fascinating world.